My father used to say, "A hotel isn't built on bricks and marble, Chloe. It's built on secrets and smiles." He was right, but he left out the third ingredient: memory. I'm Chloe Vance. For 15 years, I was the invisible architect behind the Vance Royal, Manhattan's most discreet luxury hotel. Not the biggest, not the flashiest, but for the people who mattered, the ones who valued privacy over publicity. We were the only choice. I didn't just manage the hotel. I was the hotel. I knew Senator Morrison required Pellegrino at precisely 68 degrees, no ice, delivered at 6:47 a.m., never 6:45, never 6:50. I knew that suite 1204 needed the curtains drawn before the Hollywood actress arrived to hide her pregnancy from the paparazzi camped across the street. I knew which Russian oligarch was allergic to down pillows and which tech billionaire was secretly vegan despite his steakhouse empire. My father built the Vance Royal's reputation. I built its religion. 98% occupancy for a decade straight. 0 scandals. In an industry where one viral tweet can destroy you overnight, we were untouchable. Then cancer came for my father, and Veronica came for everything else. Veronica entered our lives like a slow-moving poison, beautiful, refined, and absolutely lethal. My father met her at a charity gala 2 years before his diagnosis. She was 53 but looked 40, maintained by the kind of surgeons who don't advertise. Socialite was the polite term. Professional widow was more accurate. She'd already buried 2 wealthy husbands, both conveniently without prenups. She came with baggage: Julian, her 25-year-old son from marriage number 1. Julian had the appearance of privilege and none of its discipline. Handsome in that generic Instagram influencer way, he'd failed out of 3 universities, been fired from 2 family businesses, and once asked our head chef if organic meant the vegetables were still alive. He treated hospitality as an opportunity to hit on guests and sample the bar inventory. My father was brilliant with hotels, but blind with women. When Veronica suggested marriage during his chemo treatments, he was too weak to see the trap closing. She played the devoted caregiver perfectly, bringing him tea, reading to him, whispering poison about securing the family legacy. I was too busy keeping the hotel running during his illness to notice the will being rewritten. That's what I tell myself anyway. The truth is darker. I thought I was indispensable. I thought blood was thicker than a marriage certificate signed between morphine doses. I was catastrophically wrong. The Monday after the funeral, I walked into my office at 7:30 a.m., same as every Monday for 15 years. Julian was sitting in my chair, wearing a suit that cost more than my monthly salary. His feet were propped on my desk. Veronica stood by the window in a black Chanel suit, holding champagne in a baccarat flute, at 9 a.m. "Chloe." She didn't turn around. "We're restructuring." The coffee in my hand suddenly felt very heavy. "The board," she continued, and I almost laughed because she was the board now, "feels the hotel needs fresh vision, young energy. Julian is taking over as CEO." I looked at Julian. He grinned like a child who'd just stolen candy. "Julian," I kept my voice level. "Julian asked housekeeping to iron his socks last week, while he was wearing them. He doesn't know the difference between thread count and head count." "He'll learn," Veronica snapped, finally turning. Her smile was sharp enough to cut glass. "You'll teach him, as a consultant, 20% of your current salary. Part-time hours, or—" She paused for effect. "You can leave." It was a masterclass in humiliation. They wanted me to quit so they wouldn't owe severance. They wanted me broken. I looked past them through the glass walls, at the staff gathered in nervous clusters. Marcus, my head concierge for 12 years, met my eyes. His expression said everything. "I won't be anyone's consultant," I said quietly. Julian's grin widened. "Then get out. Security will escort you. Leave the laptop, the phone, the keys, company property." I placed everything on the desk with deliberate care. The laptop containing our operational systems, the phone with years of client contacts, the keys to a kingdom I'd built with my bare hands. "Good luck, Julian." I smiled. "You're going to need divine intervention." I walked out with nothing but my purse and my dignity, but I stopped at the concierge desk. "Miss Vance?" Marcus's voice cracked. "Is it true?" "It's true, Marcus. I'm out." He nodded slowly, something hardening behind his eyes. "Then so am I." "Marcus, don't. You have a family." "Miss Vance." He straightened his spine. "Some things matter more than a paycheck. I'll call you tomorrow." As the elevator doors closed, I saw my reflection in the polished brass. I looked calm. Defeated, maybe, but calm. They had no idea what they'd just unleashed. I gave myself exactly 1 week to mourn. I spent it in my apartment, drinking good wine and watching the Vance Royal's TripAdvisor rating begin its spectacular descent. 4 stars, 3.5, 3. Then my personal phone started ringing. "Chloe, they lost my reservation. I've been coming here for 8 years. "Chloe, the room service took 90 minutes and arrived cold. "Chloe, some child in a suit told me I couldn't have extra towels because of sustainability initiatives. What the hell is happening?" The staff called too. Veronica had hired an MBA consultant who'd never worked in hospitality. His brilliant cost-cutting measures: fire the unionized housekeeping staff, replace them with minimum-wage agency workers who couldn't tell Egyptian cotton from polyester. Eliminate the night concierge. Guests could use the app. Switch from fresh flowers to silk arrangements. No one notices the difference. Replace the award-winning chef with a catering company that specialized in corporate lunchboxes. The soul of the Vance Royal wasn't dying. It was being murdered. I realized something my father had tried to teach me. A hotel isn't the building. It's the institutional knowledge that walks out the door every night and, if you're lucky, comes back the next morning. And I'd just walked out carrying 15 years of institutional knowledge in my head. I had savings. Not enough to buy a hotel, but enough to lease the old Gramercy Club building 3 blocks away. It had been empty for 2 years. A beautiful, Gilded Age brownstone with good bones and bad plumbing. I called Marcus. "How many of the old team can we get?" "All of them." He didn't hesitate. "The head chef walked out yesterday after Julian asked him to defrost the lobsters in hot water. Everyone's ready to jump ship." "Good, because we're not building a hotel. We're building a sanctuary." We didn't launch a hotel. We launched a myth. No advertising. No website. No Instagrammable lobby for influencers. Just a plain brass plaque that said V House and a phone number known to exactly 50 people. The concept was weaponized exclusivity. If you have to ask, you can't afford it. If you can afford it, you already know. I couldn't advertise, but I had something better than a marketing budget: my black book. Not the company contacts they'd confiscated. Those were worthless. I mean the real black book, the one I'd built in my head over 15 years. I knew that the CEO of Techstar Capital always traveled with his mistress, but told his wife he was at conferences. I knew the Duchess preferred room 7 because the morning light hit her perfectly for her Instagram posts. Unofficial, of course. I knew which Saudi prince required a private prayer room facing Mecca, and which Oscar winner was 3 months sober and needed the minibar replaced with Pellegrino. I sent 50 handwritten notes on cream cardstock. Dear Mr. Harrison, I have moved. If you require the usual standards, you know where to find me. Warmly, CV. The response was immediate. Within 2 months, we had a 92% occupancy rate. Not bad for a place that officially didn't exist. Meanwhile, 3 blocks away, the Vance Royal was hemorrhaging guests like a severed artery. Julian's incompetence wasn't subtle. It was spectacular. He fired the specialized HVAC maintenance crew to save $40,000 a year. When the air conditioning failed on the 10th floor during a July heat wave, he didn't know who to call. Guests sweltered for 48 hours before checking out en masse, many of them checking directly into V-House. He eliminated the dedicated IT staff. When the reservation system crashed during Fashion Week, they lost hundreds of bookings. Julian tried to fix it himself and somehow managed to delete 3 months of reservations. Guests arrived to find their rooms given away. The reviews became a Greek tragedy in real time. 1 star, the manager, Julian, screamed at me for complaining about the noise. At a luxury hotel. I've been a guest for 6 years. Never again. 1 star. Food poisoning from the fresh seafood that smelled like a dumpster. 1 star. This place used to be legendary. Now it's a Motel 6 with a chandelier and delusions of grandeur. Veronica tried to stop the bleeding by throwing money at problems, hiring expensive PR firms, offering steep discounts, threatening legal action against disloyal former staff. But you can't PR your way out of incompetence. She even tried to sue me for tortious interference and theft of proprietary client relationships. Her lawyer withdrew the case after 1 meeting. Apparently, guests are allowed to choose where they sleep and employees are allowed to quit. The death spiral accelerated. The kill shot came during Fashion Week. For a decade, the Vance Royal had hosted the unofficial Met Gala after-party. The real party, where celebrities shed their public personas and $25,000 gowns for something approaching humanity. It was a $2 million contract for 1 night, but more importantly, it was a reputation multiplier. Hosting that party meant you were the most exclusive venue in Manhattan. Julian assumed the contract was automatic, a family heirloom that came with the building. He didn't read the fine print. The contract required Michelin-starred catering standards and boutique hotel-level personalized service. He'd fired our Michelin-starred chef and replaced him with a bulk catering company that specialized in corporate conferences and bar mitzvahs. 3 days before the gala, the event organizers came for the mandatory tasting. It was carnage. The pan-seared scallops were rubbery and reeked of freezer burn. The artisanal cheese selection was literally supermarket cheddar on a wooden board. The personalized service consisted of underpaid agency staff who didn't know the difference between Cristal and Cava. The lead organizer, a terrifying woman named Patricia, who'd made Anna Wintour cry once, took 1 bite and spit it into her napkin. "This is a disgrace," she said, her voice ice. "Contract terminated." She called me from her car. "Chloe." Patricia never wasted words. "Julian destroyed everything. I have 300 A-list guests arriving in 72 hours. Can you save this?" I smiled at my reflection in the window. "Yes, but my rush fee is double the original contract." "Done. Just don't make me look like an idiot." "Patricia, when have I ever?" On the night of the Met Gala, the Vance Royal was a Gothic masterpiece of futility. Red carpet rolled out. Paparazzi positioned. Champagne chilling. Julian and Veronica stood in the lobby in their finest clothes, waiting for guests who would never arrive. 3 blocks away, V House was chaos in the best possible way. Rihanna arrived through the private entrance. The Kardashians took over the third floor. Marcus personally escorted a notoriously reclusive tech billionaire who'd never attended the official gala, but came to our after-party because Chloe understands that wealth whispers. Our head chef, their former head chef, prepared a menu that would be photographed and talked about for months. Fresh oysters from Maine, Wagyu tartare, a champagne tower that would have made Gatsby jealous. At 2 a.m., Rihanna herself posted a single photo to Instagram. A close-up of her champagne flute with the caption, "Real ones know." She didn't tag the location. She didn't have to. By morning, the headlines told the story. "The Vance Royal is dead. Long live V House." Fashion elite abandon legendary hotel for secret new venue. Inside the Met Gala after-party you'll never get into. Julian's phone started ringing at 6 a.m. with reporters asking for comment. By 10 a.m., Veronica had fired him as CEO. By noon, their lawyers were fighting each other instead of me. 6 months later, the Vance Royal declared bankruptcy. The brand was so toxic that no hotel chain wanted it. They just wanted the real estate. The building sold at auction for 60 cents on the dollar. Veronica lost everything. The hotel, the penthouse, the art collection she'd been planning to sell. Julian is working at a car dealership in New Jersey. They're suing each other for mismanagement. It's beautiful. Last week, I went to the bankruptcy auction. I bought the building for pennies on the dollar. We're renovating now, restoring it to its former glory. Bringing back the Egyptian cotton, the fresh orchids, the soul. But I'm keeping one thing exactly as Julian left it, his cheap plastic flower arrangement from the lobby. I had it preserved in a glass case in the new entrance, with a small brass plaque underneath. A reminder: you can steal a building, but you cannot steal class. Marcus suggested we burn it instead. I told him revenge is like hospitality. It's about the details. And I wanted Julian to see it every time he walked past the hotel he'd destroyed, the empire he'd inherited and burned to the ground through sheer magnificent incompetence. My father was right about one thing. A hotel is built on secrets and smiles. He just forgot to mention that it also requires something else. A backbone made of steel, wrapped in silk.